to the Dialogue Internet Podcast Network and another episode of Annie's Adventures. And now here's your host, Annie Perez.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready to start. Whenever you're ready to start. You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. Alrighty. Oops, that's not right. Discard. Live feed. That's how we're doing this. Okay. Yeah, it's just starting. What's up, El Paso? Welcome back to this week's podcast. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much to my awesome guests for joining me in the middle of a week, in the middle of a Wednesday.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, every day's a good day. Just some technical difficulties happening behind the scenes. Let me show you guys.
You're still up, okay, so you can keep.
I'm still up. We're still up. What does that mean on TV?
On yours, you're up.
Okay, I'm up. Yeah, I'm
right,
up.
you're up, so
I'm
you
up.
can back up.
We're just waiting for Leonard, and then we'll start the podcast. But today I have some awesome guests. I have Cage from Cage and the Rampage, and then I also have Valentine, Sandoval, and Don Shapiro with Power at the Pass. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Our pleasure.
So soon I'm gonna reintroduce you guys once we go live. But at home, if you have any questions, ask in the comments and we'll get those answered while we're here. This is going to be an awesome podcast today. I'm super excited for you guys to meet, honestly, because I'm excited for you to learn what Power at the Pass is. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Okay. No, so my friend Cage down there, he's a musician in a band, an awesome band, local band. And so he's not familiar with Power at the Pass yet, so I'm excited for him to learn because of the opportunities that you guys offer the city and things like that. So it might be a good
Absolutely.
venue match, you know?
I can't wait to hear you jam.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool. I'm excited to hear what y'all have to say as well.
Yes. It's going to be awesome. Technology, right? Am I right? All right, guys. Anybody have any summer vacations coming up? I'm going to go to New Orleans next month.
Again?
Not again. I mean, it's been a year since I've been to New Orleans.
Really?
I just got back from Seattle, and I was in San Francisco and Austin and some other places recently.
Nice.
I like to travel, yeah. I like to travel. I like to travel to go hear good music.
Great.
Yeah. So.
We're on
and
the
to
same
eat.
page.
All right. I like it. How's it looking over there?
You're just entering some stuff to get it back up.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
You do your thing. Work your magic, Leonard.
Yeah, please.
All right, guys. Just a few minutes and we'll get going. Thank you for tuning in to this week's podcast. Oh, and if you guys want to do live feeds or stories or, whatever you want to do do your thing.
Yes,
We're golden. All right. Let's get this party started. Okay. Welcome back, El Paso, to this week's podcast. I'd like to go on and introduce you to some amazing guests. I'm not sure if you've heard of them yet. If not, this is why we're here, to help educate the community about some awesome venues and music that I'd love for you to check out and support. If you have any questions, ask in the comments below in the slide feed, and I'll help get those answered for us today. But without further ado, I do like to start off my podcast by asking a marketing question. What type of marketing does your business do? What works for you? What doesn't? And do you have any tips or advice for business owners? And just so you guys know at home, and if this is your first time tuning in, I do work at Leo Marketing. We're a local full service marketing agency. We even have a video production studio within the company and a video rental equipment company. So we can help you. Video production is a specialty of ours. But if you need help with TV, radio, billboard, print, and OTT, I can help you book those, negotiate for you without that costing you anything to use me. I also can help you with social media, websites, video production, graphic design, photography, SEO, Google, branding, and more. And of course, social media influencing. So if you guys need help and just want to be on Annie's Adventures, reach out to me and we'll talk about how to get that done, okay? So without further ado, let me go on and introduce you to my amazing guest today. How do I flip this? Like that. Thank you so much for joining me today, gentlemen.
My pleasure.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited. Okay, so today I have Mr. Don Shapiro. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes,
It's a
and
pleasure to be with you.
it's my pleasure. You're my surprise guest today. When I heard you were coming, I was like, oh snap, that's awesome.
Miracles do happen.
Yes, sir. I love it. And then I also have Valentine Sandoval. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm excited.
I love coming out here.
Yes,
It's
and
part of the mountain.
We're going to talk about Power at the Pass. That's what you guys are doing. We're going to just do a deep dive into it. But first, we'll go on and break down. And first, I want to introduce Cage from Cage and the Rampage. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on today.
Yes, thank you for coming. So we'll go on and start with Power at the Pass. With the marketing question. What type of marketing do you guys do? What's worked for you? Maybe what hasn't? And do you have any tips or advice for business owners? And I'd like both of you guys to answer that question.
Absolutely, yes. We stick to what's most accessible, and that's the internet. Primarily Facebook and Instagram, and we've made more of a concerted effort as of late to make our YouTube channel far more dynamic and specific, and I'm being very general about it. We've been around for going on 6 years, and but Don's really been the as much as I think I have and I have to offer, but Don's really been the master at marketing throughout the past generations when he had his patent manufacturing company and yes, when he had Action West. What have been your marketing techniques, Don, back when you started Action West?
Very basic.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
Yes. That's a good tip. Just be honest, right?
Nothing like honesty.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So primarily telling story. I'm a writer. I brought our book. We're gonna gift you a book.
That's so cool.
Don's life story. That's
Thank you so
that's how he
much.
and I met. You're welcome.
Okay.
I met Don through his wife.
As a writer, producer,
Okay.
and salespeople,
Yes.
and marketing people. It all blends
Yes, sir.
amazingly well.
Yes.
We're delighted to be with you.
Thank you so much for coming. And I'm a total nerd to talk about marketing. So, and coming from such a businessman as yourself, I'm super interested in hearing about, once we get into the deep diving about what you think of El Paso, what you see for El Paso, the changes you've seen along the way. But for tips and advice, what do you guys have to offer for business owners out there? People who are just getting started, people who are currently already in business and they're just looking for a different perspective,
I would advise to build tell a story. Build where consistency is the name of the game. I think that's what, if any rootedness that we've had or anything that really makes me feel like I know what I'm really talking about is the consistency of telling the story day in day out. Even if I don't want to, even if I
It sounds like an elevator pitch or whatever because you say it so much.
Exactly.
Because that's how I understand what you're saying, but it's necessary.
Oh, entirely. I think that's been consistent storytelling, and as Don said, I thought that was a powerful, poignant statement, and that is to tell the truth. I think that's one thing that the truth that we tell is the fact that we're not perpetrating on our social media. Everything I post, I obviously put a slant to it, a positive slant.
People believe us because we're honest.
Yeah.
So we just consistency, telling the story, and even when you don't want to, I think that when you put it forth, there tends to be a positive result towards that. So I would tell businesses out there, don't have any fear to be yourself and present that. I think that's how you develop your brand. And if another statement, if you're unlike Don in the book, he was one of the very few people that is legitimately fearless. And even if you have the fear, feel the fear and do it anyway. So that would be my advice.
That's where you break the boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah. That's where you.
Including death.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
Yes.
I understand that too. Yeah. Just enjoy the ride. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I love it. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
I'd like to say something.
Yes, sir.
First, when I first came to El Paso from New York, I was in love with El Paso.
Okay.
And very quickly became mutual. I feel that El Paso and the people are totally in love with me and Val and my family.
Yes.
We're ready to do anything and everything
Thank
for
you.
success.
That's awesome. And when did you move? Like, how long have you been in El Paso?
That's your question, Don. How long have you been in El Paso?
Answer.
Okay. He's been here 67 years.
Oh my goodness.
67,
Yeah.
68 years. And
I can't wait to read
at,
it.
at one point, like in the podcast, I like to kind of read maybe a excerpt within the
Okay.
chapter, and I think it'll embody a lot of what he's about. But he came here 67 years ago, and from New York, from the Bronx, and he was going to go to World War II. He was ready.
I enlisted.
He enlisted. He trained. He was going to be shipped out to the Philippines, to the
Exactly.
to fight
I
the
was
Japanese.
in the Navy. At OGU, outgoing unit. I was about to ship out when we were at war with Japan.
Wow.
Totally.
Yeah, so he luckily for him, he didn't have to go into battle. Unluckily for humanity, it was Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombs were dropped.
It was the right thing to do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so then he was one of the first ones to enlist in the Army's the Navy's GI Bill. I will not make that mistake ever again. Yes. He was one of the first recipients of the GI Bill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he went to NYU instead, and he studied
4 years.
4 years. He got his degree in was it finance?
Accounting.
Okay.
And majored in accounting. And then he came out on an adventure and to travel with his friends and just explore the country, and then he fell in love with the West Texas sunset and the skies and the open horizons.
I get it.
And
Mainly the people.
I love it.
so that's what brought him here.
67 years ago.
About 68,
Wow,
maybe
that's
67,
awesome.
give or take a year.
Very cool. And you made it home. This is your home. I love it.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Since then.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you guys. Let me go on. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there's going to be more questions. But first, I got a question for Cage down there. I want to ask the same marketing question.
Great.
What type of marketing do you guys do for Cage and the Rampage? What do you find works for you? Maybe what does it? And do you have any tips or advice for business owners out there, people who are trying to get out there?
That's something that we're still trying to figure out
Sure,
ourselves.
sure.
Really. We do just a lot of internet posting. We've done YouTube videos, mostly like face-to-face interactions with people, and that's been the extent of it so far.
Okay.
As far as advice, no, but I'm open to advice.
He's like, we're just trying to figure it out along the way, right?
Yeah, we're just like, we know how to play our instruments, now to figure out how to do business.
Yeah, to let people know. Yeah, because you guys are amazing. We're about to do a deep dive into your band and all that good stuff. But how long have you guys been around? How long have you been performing?
This band, in the configuration that it's in, I think we've been around for about 1.5 years or so. But we've been performing together in different bands for close to 14, 15 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, since we were kids.
I was going to say, you're like, how old?
I'm
Like
28.
Okay, yeah, you guys, that's awesome. So that explains a lot. I'm super excited to dive in right now. So thank you for that. And I guess I have a little bit to impart for you, Cage, maybe, and anybody at home, any of you guys business owners. You know, I'm a nerd for marketing. You can always reach out to me. Thanks, Leonard. For any, tips or advice, but I can't encourage you guys enough to be doing at least one post a day on your newsfeed, at least 3 to 5 on your stories. I post 1 billion stories a day. It's absurd. I know it is. It's ridiculous, but I'm trying to lead you guys to businesses, so it's a little different. I kind of look at Annie's Adventures as more like a lifestyle page, where it's, if you were to go to a Chronicle or the What's Up or whatever, you can go on and search my stories for upcoming events and restaurants and stuff like that to go and check out and support, right? So by no means am I telling you to post that many times in your stories a day, but I do encourage at least 3 to 5. And I do notice that I get a lot of more eyes on my stories than I do my daily posts in the news feed. And a lot of these people who are seeing my stories don't currently follow me yet, so it leads them to my page to get the new followers. So it's all important. It all works together. Facebook and Instagram, you can go on and click the button and it'll post to the same thing, so it's less work. But the more you guys can do, the better. And also, video production is incredibly important nowadays. I consume, I don't know how many hours of video. I get lost. I'll be like 2 hours later, thanks TikTok, you know, I'm like, what did I learn? I don't know, but it was entertaining. So get on that. Be where the attention is. If you have any questions, again, reach out to me. I'd love to help you guys. So without further ado, let's go on and do a deep dive into my clients' businesses. My clients, future clients maybe, right? Into my guests' businesses. So we're going to go on and start with Power at the Pass. I want to know and introduce Power at the Pass. What exactly do you guys do? I've gone to your all's facility before. It's awesome. I know a little bit about a lot of, I know you guys do a lot. I know a little bit about it, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
What I've seen, I love. There's opportunities out there that you're offering. So if you guys just want to take it away, if I have questions or anybody has questions, ask and we'll get those answered. And I'll let you guys go on and do your thing.
Okay.
You're talking to the right guy.
Yes. Yes.
Right guys.
I was going to say, right?
Plural,
I think I got the
plural.
two right guys, the two perfect guys to talk about this right now.
You know, Power at the Pass started as, above all, I'm a writer. You know, my core competency in the past some years is I took a journey when I left television and, you know, advertising freelance. I used to work at Entrevision. I used to work with the homeowner here, Abel Rodriguez, when he was doing promotions. And I was a lowly, you know, commercial maker and I was just editing off of Media 100 A44X and Avid, and I had background in movies, and I've always just wanted to tell, you know, riveting, engaging stories and challenge myself to be able to make that happen. And so I left on a journey to become a writer. Not to become a writer, but to write books. And then I wrote my first book, South Sun Rises, that got me the Southwest Book Award in 2016, and it took me across the country. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, all of a sudden I end up going to different colleges and keynoting and speaking, and it changed my world, changed my life. And I got to come back home, and I met Bobby Shapiro, Don's wife, first before I met Don. We met at the Doubletree Hotel downtown, like right when it barely opened up, and it was a city magazine party. And Bobby comes up to me, and you know, we're both walking towards each other, and she's dressed really, really fabulously, and then she asks me, "What do I do?" And I tell her, "Well, I'm a writer." And then she tells me that her husband's looking for a writer. Yes, your lucky day.
That's awesome.
And then she tells me, like, I'm a big guy, I'm a tall guy, and she's, you know, small compared to me. She's like, you stay here, you know, and she walks away real cute, and then she goes to Don, and Don's, you know, standing by himself over at, you know, a little round table
man
with a
of
martini.
Mystery. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
most interesting man in the world was based off of him. You know, really.
Said to me, "Do you want to meet a writer?" I said, "Of course." You're on.
You're on.
And then so she comes back and she tells me to join her. So I go and then we meet. And right off the bat, it was a profound connection. And I tell him that, you know, hey Don, you know, we meet. And then he asks me if I can go visit him at his building, which is 1931 Myrtle, which is what most people have become. You know, if you know Power at the Pass, you know the building. Mm-hmm. You've been there for an event or, you know, a function, or you partied there or whatnot. You know, It's been this really cool thing, but that started as a result of me meeting Don and his son Steve Shapiro first, who's a real estate agent and broker now, and you know, I gave him samples of my work, of my articles, newspaper articles, magazine articles, my first book, so that they can read my material and vet me to see if they like my work.
Sure.
And so they did. We met again, and we signed a contract, you know, for writing his book. Prior to me, he had two other writers working on the book, and they had these guys were big, you know. They were from L.A. And Austin. One was a Harvard writer, the other one was a UT Austin writer. and they just didn't make the cut for him. You know, Don's a very specific man.
Standards.
Yeah. You know, Don knows what he likes and what he doesn't, and he doesn't shy away from, you know, from stating that. And the guys didn't make the cut.
Recognize positives.
I love it.
Every day of my life, I recognize them.
Absolutely.
It was a great connect with you and I, and it's getting bigger and better than ever. Very exciting.
Absolutely. So, luckily for both of us, you know, they hired me. And I tell Don, you know, if we're going to go interview all these people, you know, if I'm going to interview 24 of your friends from, you know, that he's grown up with in the industry and the region, why not shoot, you know, video? You know, I'm you know, I know you, I know Gilbert, I know Leo, you know, I've done work for you guys. I've written scripts, I've acted.
Yeah, that's how we met. Is through Leo Marketing. Yes. Yeah, and then you disappeared for a little while because you were on tour, and you came back, and I was like, "What is this building you're in now?"
and you know what the genius of it was on Don's behalf was I tell him, I said, "Look, let's do a documentary. Let me, you know, and of course I'm looking for another contract. I got a writing contract, and he tells me write a proposal. So I did, and instead of hiring me for the proposal, he tells me let's start a marketing company. And he's just he's a shrewd businessman.
He said when? Effective immediately.
Absolutely. And then we had that eureka moment when he gives me the manuscript, the material, and I'm having to piece this together. And mind you, I'm a writer. I wrote one book, a book of poetry about my mom and our family and Juarez and El Paso. I try to be as real, as authentic as I could with it. But it's one book. I'm not this seasoned writer. I didn't really go to academia and get my higher education for it. It was just I didn't know how to construct a narrative, biography that's extensive. It's a 300-page book. I'm like, how do I handle this? And so in the process, we're thinking of the title, and then Don tells me he had that eureka moment where he just thinks to himself, "Pirate the Past." He said it out loud. And right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's the title. And he came up. Why did you come up with that title, Don? Pirate the Past.
Nothing could be more meaningful. El Paso is the city of the past, and we're the power. We are the power of the past, connected with El Paso.
Absolutely. Like he had this book there, The Paso of the North. And you know, El Paso's always been El Paso del Norte, you know, historically speaking. Yeah, and so in most cases, like people here feel you have to leave town to become what you want to become.
Sure.
You know, you want to go to Austin.
Everybody wants to leave. Everyone wants to leave. Yeah.
You want to get out of here as soon as your high school's done.
But bring it back.
I'm out of here.
They feel there are better places. In reality, there are no better places.
Life is what you make it where you're at.
And right now, that's right. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Likewise.
and so that was the scenarios where you can make your dreams happen here in El Paso. You don't have to leave, and so I love the concept, you know, and so it became experiential marketing. I think the best way that we can describe our marketing approach and style is experiential marketing, and I didn't know that the pairing of that phrase. I didn't think, oh, it's experiential marketing, I'm going to fill that. I just was you create an experience. And then in retrospect, you realize, oh, this is marketing. You know, this is what you create, like an art gallery show. You bring in a bunch of, you know, cool artists, and you bring in a bunch of people. You kind of have a natural gravitational pull. And then I tell Don that when it's all said and done, when the book comes out, people would have recognized Pirate the Past. Pirate the Past, whether for whatever reason, the name will resonate in your brain. So when it really was a way of it really was a way of marketing towards the book. It's to get people to read the story. It's for people to understand the uniqueness and the different characters and the nuances of the region. It's to understand what's happening right in front of you, right around you, right within you, right beneath you, right here, right across the border in Juarez. And with all the complexities involved, I just knew that you know, love it or hate it, you're going to recognize it. You know, when the book comes out, Part of the Past is going to resonate. So we want people to buy the book, obviously. I want people to know just the awesome story that this man has, and it's also parallels our own story. It's not just about Don Shapiro. It's really more of an archetype and an ideation of what you can do here, how you can take bits of inspiration and pieces that may make sense and may fit in your life,
Sure.
and how you can utilize that to empower you, and even if it's small steps, in some cases it may be huge for other people, but in other cases it's not, but all the while you're building this story and this narrative. And the idea now is to transpose that energy and to make it into a movie, and create possible momentum that just perpetuates itself on and on. And social media is by far like a natural. When I left TV, when I was at Univision, when I left Azteca America, I had NBC offers. I lived in Manhattan working on films. I knew that you can do something really fresh and innovative with social media and YouTube and everything that we're doing now. I thought, that's an opportunity for distinction and uniqueness. It's something that you can really build.
Brand yourself as
on.
an expert
Yes.
in any fields. That's why I tell people, think of your social media page as your own TV station. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in this area, it's the number one thing people do before they go to bed. When they wake up, is check their social media.
Yes.
Any social media contest in the nationwide, El Paso wins. So it's the place to be.
Natural.
Yeah.
Truly. A natural.
Yes, sir. It's just easy.
Val and I and you
Uh-huh.
and your company,
Yeah.
we're going to do great.
Hey man, I
Together.
like it. I like it. Things are he's saying it right here, right now. You guys heard it. So tell me, at the building Power of the Past, what do you guys do? Is it like because I know there's other places out there that it's like an artist community, or you know what I mean? But you guys like have different availabilities for businesses out there, for other podcasts, for other musicians, for artists.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
All of the above.
Yes.
Every one of
D, all the above. I love that answer.
And we create reality from a dream to reality.
Yeah.
Is second nature to Val and myself and Power of the Past.
Okay.
That is the true power.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Wow, yeah, right. And what I love about the Shapiros is, and it's specifically Don and Bobby's approach to life and business, is that it's authentic. It's not it's a natural, and it's not this template that is with all due respect to the corporate world of which we're part of in our own way. It's not this template. It's not this cutout scenario. The idea was that, and I think that comes from him being a New Yorker, him and his wife being, him from the Bronx and then her from Brooklyn, Coney Island, and me, like, instead of, most times my colleagues, they all leave to Los Angeles, for film school, or people that are in the industry that we're in. Most times if you want to make a big name for yourself, or you want to get big expertise and you want to do something out of the box, you go to Los Angeles. It's so closer, and there's a lot
But everyone's moving back here.
Yeah, I know. Exactly, right,
I
right.
love it, man.
But I could, in my journey,
all leaving.
I was more of an East Coast guy. I liked New York more, and so instead of going to L.A., I would go to Manhattan. That's where I wrote my first book. I something about the compression of so many people in one area created this sort of dynamic of making, becoming a diamond in the rough, if you're lucky enough, or not, you become victimized to, the probabilities of reality, right? And
That's
so
anywhere,
yeah, but it's so much more compressed in New York,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
you're just like an ant.
Yes.
Like all these ants around, like
yeah,
so many
it's
people.
10 million people, and at one point from like 3 to 8, it doubles up, because everybody would come in from all over the world to do business and then fly out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What we did was enjoin El Paso, L.A., New York, combined with everything. We didn't eliminate anything. Took care of every positive, and it's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that I missed that energy about New York. That, I was working on a movie, for Magnolia Pictures. It was a Civil War vampire movie, and I had to edit this movie, and It was tough because the movie was not a good project. It was, I mean, the idea was, the person was great, but the result that I was working with, I was a fourth editor on that. It was not a great film. So I would leave my studio in Manhattan and go outside, but the culture of the people, all varieties, would inspire me. Even if you felt down inside, you were uplifted, and you get the same energy at the building, you know, where by default we gravitated some of the region's most edgy, for lack of a better word, artists that were from Juarez, that were from here. And sometimes you don't get this nice frame package, you know. They come riddled with issues and trauma, and like you have to become a kind of a therapist to them and to yourself in the process as you're wanting to create something that's authentic and beautiful. So we've had bunch of painters and a bunch of musicians and filmmakers. Like now it's become filled with music producers, and I think that's why, you know, Annie's excited about, and you know, I can't wait to hear you play, is because we have some of the region's like best talented artists, and then we have this DJ Goldblum who's like, I met him by doing his music video. He's partnered with a band called Cocoa Butter. Okay. I did their music video, and I got into music videos. I had gotten out of that a while back. I'm an older guy. I wanted to go off into writing books and writing movies, but these cool young kids brought me back into the fold. And I'm glad they did.
Having fun with it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
You feel it again, yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah. Indeed. And so there's Goldblum and Off Kind Studios. There's Mikey, who's a DJ at over 1111, and like right now he's in Cancun. He's one of these 23-year-old kids that travels all over the country DJing, living the life. And then we have Richie's got his podcast room in there.
Richie.
We got who else? I got these kids, Johnny Barra and this other guy, Albie. They're going to move in next week. They're also music producers or engineers. And then we have this kid from Albuquerque named Gabriel Fuentes, who's got he's a world-class classical guitarist, and he came down here and like he's trying to, you know, we're trying to keep him working so that he doesn't leave and wants to stay here, wants to make this home. Yeah, he's in love. He's in love.
This guy, because I want to help share all these. Like, I'm like, who are these people? I need to help share and get because I'm trying to help with this music scene, man. Like Tuesday and Monday and Wednesday shows, like that's normal. That is normal, bro. It may not be normal to El Paso yet, but everywhere else, like the big city where the music scene is, that is normal. I remember living in Austin. I would go 5-6 nights a week. Doesn't matter what day of the week, what time. There was good music, all kinds of music everywhere.
Absolutely.
And so it's great to start seeing that starting to trickle here. Starting to trickle. Everyone's like, oh, it's Monday, it's Tuesday. Get off your butt. Go to the show. It's 3 hours, bro. Like, and then you get that amazing experience. So it's really cool, the opportunities coming here. But I'd love to listen to and meet the people that you guys are housing.
Let's set up a meeting.
And help share and spread the love.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
That's what I'm here for. That's what Annie's Adventures is, to help spread the word and get you guys at home interested to go out and support these local artists, vendors, businesses, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you should take a tour.
I love your energy.
Oh, thank you, sir. I got it for days. I don't know how to sit still.
So yeah, and then we also have in there Dr. Viescas, who is a grant writer and researcher, and he's really a big avid, you know, artist, musician, lover himself. So he's finding ways to bring grant funding and having, you know, trying to help artists become a little bit more business savvy, a little bit more fiscally responsible. You know, these little steps that we all need to take just so you can be more autonomous and be a better navigator of your own ship. You know, we have him in there, and then and so, you know, I think now we're pretty much. And then we have another sculptor artist, Cristina Mayagoitia, who wants to move in next week. So we're pretty much filled to the capacity, and it's come in cycles where it's more of an incubator. It's a creative incubator. You go in there and people, it's like a think tank. You go in there with real scenarios. You see what works. You try things out. You deal with the dramas. You elicit something that's palpable and real and can be felt. And if you're lucky enough, then you're able to you know, bring some kind of tangible value from that. And if it means a monetary value, then great. And sometimes it's more of there's a bigger picture involved, you know, and you'll see it later on. It's more than money. As Don,
it's the long run.
Ironically, that's one of the things I learned from Don is writing the book. Of course, money in business is you know, at the forefront, but he didn't go chasing the dollar. He went chasing adventure and value proposition.
That's where we get along there.
Excitement.
That's where we get along there, Don. Give me a knuckle. Don't leave me hanging. There you go. I'm all about the adventures. We got one ride. Enjoy the ride, right? And once you're done, get out. Once it's boring.
3 books on adventures.
Oh, I love it. You and me both, man. Awesome. So Power at the Pass, you guys are at full capacity right now, but you guys have...
we have one more room available.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
But at the same time, like, the leases there are 3-6 months, you know.
Oh, wow.
1 or 2 rooms
Okay.
available.
Okay.
But you know what? There's a lot of development that's happening there. You know, there's 2 or 3 other projects that are booming, and other buildings that some of the bigger families that have, you know, business and prominence, they see what the Shapiros are doing, so they kind of follow suit.
So a lot of
Trendsetters,
connections that you
yes.
get to make
so
also.
now in the next few months we'll be able to
Copying us. And they're much bigger than us.
Because, you know, it's an imitation of something that it's flattering, right? It's imitating.
compliment.
Yes, exactly. Because I understand. But the more people we can get to help people, the better, right?
Absolutely.
You're inspiring people.
For sure.
Yes, I
Yes.
love it. And it's bringing the downtown back to life, man.
It is.
Texas Street,
It really
Piedras
is.
is
Right.
booming right now.
Right.
Yes.
And you feel it
Oh,
right now.
oh yeah. I'm that nerd when I go downtown on a Thursday night or whatever, and there's people flocking the streets everywhere. To me, that makes my heart just glow.
Remember that 15 years ago? You didn't see
No,
that. in
when I
El
started
Paso?
this
Yeah.
thing almost 10 years ago, people were talking crap. I used to work as the jewelry girl and buyer and sales girl at El Paso Saddle Blanket. So I always talk to everybody, locals, out of towners, military, construction workers. This place sucks. There's nothing to do here. It's a dark pit of nothingness. It's a trash can. Like, I've heard it all.
Yeah, yes.
But life is what you make it no matter where you're
That's
at.
right, that's
You
right.
could be in New Zealand in a treehouse swinging from trees, and you could be miserable, right? Yeah. I tell people, if you're bored, it's because you're boring.
Yeah.
Like, there's
more of a projection of themselves.
yeah,
Their
100%. It's a
analysis is
reflection.
More like their own thinking.
Yeah.
We think we're being
Projecting,
analytical,
yeah.
but most times we're not being analytical.
Yeah.
We're just projecting what we.
Just enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah.
I love it. So Power at the Pass, they're located downtown. Make sure to follow them. How do they follow you?
It's all uniform. Our website, poweratthepass.com, we have our link to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Easy.
You know, it's all
Yeah.
there, and you know, it's all Power at the Pass.
And I want you guys to go check them out because they do have upcoming shows. Do you have anything you want to
You
mention
know what?
right
As
now?
a matter of, you know what? How do I forget to mention El
not
Paso?
forgetting nothing.
I'm not. Thank you for that. That's some good moderation there.
I got you.
Yeah, that's El Paso Tejano music.
Oh, they just gave you a shout out, by the way.
Did they?
Yeah. To both y'all.
El Paso Tejano. You know that Krista. That was. They moved in about 2 months ago, and they got their place mobilized. They got a really cool like a sort of DJ deck that they had customized and built, and it's really exciting to see them reminding El Paso that for good and bad, we're a part of Texas. You know, you like it or not.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
even though we're not Central Texas. You know, we're not.
I know.
I
know.
Yeah, we get it. We're more New Mexico. We're more Chihuahua.
But it's so weird here, man.
It is.
It's not like anywhere else.
What do you call it, Don? What do we call it in the book? The Golden Triangle.
Shoot,
Exactly.
that makes so much sense.
New Mexico, Texas, El Paso.
Yeah.
And Chihuahua.
Yeah,
And Chihuahua.
Mexico, New
You know,
Mexico,
yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people what works in marketing in Chicago, New York, Austin, Dallas, Houston is
not
not
work here.
going to work here.
You
But
can-
what
you cannot
works
put,
here
You cannot put your.
will work everywhere.
That's good.
Boom.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah,
Am I?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Okay. Would you
Game
concur?
recognized game. Yes. I adhere to that.
Yeah, I love it. And it's exciting to see El Paso grow. It is really cool. Like we've been saying, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Great to be part of it.
Yes, sir.
You are.
Yeah.
We are.
Yes, sir. But it's happening right now. Like, this is it. It's starting to happen. People from New York and Cali are coming here back from Austin. And you're right. Everybody wants to leave here. I left here, but you're gonna come back. And when you do,
Yes.
bring it back.
That's right,
What
that's
you
right.
learn, bring
Yeah,
it back
yeah, you-
and help enhance our community.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not discouraging. Like,
No,
you know,
not at
leaving.
all. Everybody
I
does,
was
for
able
the
to
most
bring what I
part.
brought.
Yeah.
Because I spent time in Austin, and mind you, you know, with all the younger generation and that's going to Austin, that's been there. Of course, I'm going to say that I was there at the best time to have been
Me
there.
too. Way before Silicon Valley.
This was 96. I was at 96, 97. That was like
96. Wow.
Yeah.
I was there from 2000 to 06.
That was a point where it was known as the Third Coast. You had Robert
That makes
Rodriguez,
sense.
just graduating from UT. You had Lee Daniel and Linklater, who did Slacker and Days of Confused and Fast Food Nation.
Man.
You had what's his name, Wes Anderson, coming out of that. So I was a part of that burgeoning scene indirectly. I wasn't there with these guys.
No, sure, but
I
you
was
got to witness
the
it.
cross-pollination of it. I felt the ramifications of that, and I was like, right then and there, it was bubbling creatively.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a mecca where you had open mics and performances and gallery shows every other block. It's not quite the same anymore. I mean, mind you, it's it's still exciting and great.
Sure.
I'm happy for people that are
But
there.
El Paso's the new mini Austin in the making.
You know what? It's not.
No.
Never
It's
mind a
in the
mini
making.
Austin. It's El Paso.
No,
you know?
yeah.
Never mind.
But
that.
I
Never
want
mind.
to. When I say that, in terms of like how happening it was, like the music here, the art here, so much talent in just our little thumb, man.
Absolutely,
so much
absolutely.
talent, and even like Cage and I were talking about.
Been there forever, but it's awakening.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
stronger than ever.
Yes, sir. I love that, And Cage is from Las Cruces, lives in El Paso now, but is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I was mentioning how there's so much talent in Las Cruces as well, artists and musicians and so forth. And just within this area, our sister cities, Juarez, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
everybody's
it's astounding.
traveling the world and doing their own things, but I want to see it here because we deserve it, yeah? Like, we deserve it, and we deserve to, we should be out there supporting our locals in any avenue that they're doing. Local businesses, artists, musicians, go out and support these guys, El Paso. Power at the Pass.
I'm also going to announce. I'm looking for the flyer here for
Oh, yes.
the El Paso Tejanos. They're having their launch. Let me find it through my photos here. But I want to say it's I think June 12th. But let me be specific.
Yeah, we'll
that
get
way.
the
That way,
specific
yeah.
information.
And I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I think I sent it to you. Let me look for that.
Okay. We'll go on and mention that right now when you find it too, because we'll get it on here on the podcast. Is there anything else coming up? I know you guys do different arches and stuff.
We're going to have a photographer model meetup on the 17th of June as well. It's ran by Vivian Media. She's a photographer, and she's over at the El Paso. Was it the Downtown Arts?
Arts
Downtown Space.
Yes.
And so they're gonna have an event there. We're coordinating that. So that'll be the 17th as well. But all of this, if they follow us on our social media, they'll I like to think we're pretty. We give announcements, and we're pretty prolific on posts and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, just real quick, I do have a couple questions for you, Don, if you don't mind. I wanted to ask, because you're not from here, but you've been here a long time. This is home, yeah?
It's born in the Bronx. New
Yes.
York.
So over the time, the 60, however many years you've been here, and the evolution of El Paso that you've seen, I want to know a little bit about that and where you see El Paso heading and what you see possibilities of happening, if that makes sense.
First, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, good. Sometimes I'm not good at words.
I want to tell you something. First day I got to El Paso, I fell in love with El Paso, and I foresaw, when I was like 21 years old, foresaw what's happening now. All of us are going to make it greater. Mm-hmm. And we're happy to have you as part of our team.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, thank you. All right. Is there anything else you guys want to add to that?
Okay, so there, I got the information here.
Okay.
El Paso Tejanos, it's gonna be, the listening party is gonna be. Let me see here. Actually, it's June 17th. That's their event. Is June 17th, Friday, 6 to 10 p.m. So make sure to follow their social media, and they also have their app. I downloaded their app here, and it's super cool. The fact that they're able to bring Tejano music to El Paso and help make that big.
Bring it back.
Yeah. And connect us to what I really appreciate about Texas and the Valley of Texas, which Don is very familiar with, is the Tejano industry. You know, over there, there's a very healthy industry. People, engineers and musicians, and people are really
That's
working
so cool.
and busy. So I think if we can bring enough of that with our own,
I want it all, man.
Flair,
I want
then
it
you
all.
got something fresh.
I want Tejano. I want some rock. I want some rap. I want some hip hop. I want some folklorico. Where's the folklorico?
True.
Where's the flamenco? Right? Where are you? I remember you when I moved back here. You guys are underground. I want it all, man. I want it all.
I want it now.
I want it now. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Our great pleasure.
Thank you. My pleasure. All right, Cage, let's go on and do a deep dive into Cage and the Rampage. I know we kind of touched a little bit on how long you guys have been performing as a group, as Cage and the Rampage, and then together in other groups for over 14 years, which is amazing. And that makes so much sense now because I'm like that fangirl, dude. I look for your all shows. I go and I follow and I'm like, woo! I just love, you guys are so talented. It's the 3-man group. You guys got your bass, your guitarist, and your drummer. And nobody in El Paso that I have seen, and I like to think I don't know all the bands out there, but I know a lot of them out there in El Paso. I've gone to a lot of shows. Nobody shreds like you do, man.
Thank you.
No, and you can flush. I get it. I'm putting you on the spot. But it's true. And that's why I wanted to bring you in here, because I wanted to introduce you to El Paso. If you guys haven't heard or met Cage, you've been on KLAQ. Like, you've been around.
Yeah, we've been on there a couple times. We have one single out in the world right now.
That's amazing. But I'm just a huge fan, and I already see it. Like, you guys, I see it. You know what I mean? And where you are going, and it's a beautiful thing to watch, and it's exciting to see. And I want everybody out there, if you have a venue, book these guys. And also, this has nothing to do with Cage and the Rampage, but I've heard some stories out there, and I just want to say, pay your artists. Whether it's an artist or a musician, pay your artists. But book them, because there's some incredible talents. So without further ado, Cage, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell me about Cage and the Rampage. Tell me about what's your all's inspiration. What's your inspiration? Because you'll just go off, and it's such a cool thing to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I'll start with my inspiration. My biggest inspiration is probably Joe Satriani or
I knew
Van
it.
Halen.
Okay.
I listen to basically all the '80s guitar guys, Steve Vai, Paul Gilbert, and those are like the biggest ones for me. But as a band, we kind of converge all over the place, everywhere from the Beatles to like Lady Gaga to Megadeth to Death to all over the place. We all listen to very similar music, and I'm not super big into like hip hop or anything, but the other bandmates are, so that's where like a lot of our rhythm section stuff comes into play, and like a lot of the bass lines and just cool beats that are happening. It's just because everybody's listening to every bit of music there is, and we're not trying to be it like any band specifically. We're really just trying to make the music that's coming to us from the ether. Yeah.
I love it. So if you want to tell me a little bit about your bandmates, and then we can go on and do a deep dive into you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have Matthew Muniz on bass. I've known him since we were probably 12 years old or so. I met him through his older brother, and he's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, grew up in Las Cruces. We were all three in marching band together. We played in jazz bands all throughout high school as well. And then the way that we started playing together, Matt and I, was my brother's high school graduation. We needed a bass player to just play with us for his party. And Matt was like, I can do that. And came in, and sure enough, he was tearing it up. And we've just been super close ever since, the three of us, really. And then Alex Casas is our drummer. He's been my best friend since we were like 9 years old.
How cool is that?
It's awesome.
Let's play with those guys. Like, you grew up together.
It feels really cool when I think about it, to be like, wow, I've like my childhood friends. We've had times where we're off doing our own thing or whatever, but we always come back to playing with each other. And so like Alex, he actually taught me a lot about playing guitar and a lot about music. So that's kind of been a crazy journey between the two of us, because we've gone from every configuration of me playing guitar and singing to both of us playing guitar and singing to him being the bass player of the band to him being the drummer of the band. And we've been in basically every band that I've been part of, he's been part of as well.
Okay.
And about 3 years ago, we started just digging out some instrumental music that I had been writing and starting to let everybody put their input into it. And it's really just kind of been rolling off of that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I was so I went and saw you guys recently at this like hole in the wall bar I'd never been to.
The Detour bar.
Yeah, which I love too. I love being introduced to different places like that. I love it, and it's in my neighborhood. It's like 6 minutes away. It was perfect. I was so nervous. I'm not even lie. I took like a nap. It was supposed to be an hour. My alarm didn't go off. It was set for 8 a.m. instead of p.m. And I woke up like 10 minutes before you guys started and freaked out that I was gonna miss you guys. But I made it. And I was freaking out about your bassist. I was like, he's got a 5-string bass. 'Cause I want to learn to play the bass. Like I've always wanted to learn to play the bass since I was in high school. I'm trying to learn to play the guitar now. And if you can tell us what you do for your profession, because I asked you earlier, how many guitars do you have?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of guitars.
How many guitars?
Probably, I think like in the ballpark of 17 or 20, somewhere around there. I've got a few like in cases in the closet, and I play a good
bed.
Yeah, 100%. I play about 10 guitars regularly that I just rotate through.
Okay.
And then I'm a guitar tech.
Okay.
Is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So I work on guitars, repair guitars. Actually, this guitar is highly modified by me too. So
That's awesome. And so I watched whatever channels on YouTube about some of my favorite bands, and how many guitars they have and which ones are their favorite and the different sounds. Is there anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like this guitar here that I'm playing, it's a 7-string guitar. So with that, you can get a lot of low notes, but you still get your whole high end of the guitar there. And so that's something that I really like. You can do like really big nasty chords with it. And so this guitar is probably my main guitar right now because it looks cool. And it's the 7-string guitar. I have it super modified, so it just holds up really well. It doesn't really go out of tune or anything.
That's awesome. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
That's why I was like, I don't feel like have I seen this guitar before? I don't know. I've seen a few of your different guitars.
Yeah,
that's why I
got
had
this
that
one
question.
pretty recently. It's just been I think about a year with this one.
Okay.
So I have a lot of old guitars that I didn't want to be taking out all the time.
I hear ya. Thanks for joining Tex-Mex Barbecue. They're telling you guys are doing awesome. Everybody's really enjoying the podcast.
Awesome.
So do you guys have any shows coming up?
Yeah, so we will be at the Rock House on June 8th, and then we have a pretty big one coming up, which is at Lowbrow Palace, June 18th. For tickets to that, you can hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. Link is in the bio on Instagram for tickets. Facebook, we've been sharing the event. And then... at
Lowbrow too, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool, because I love Lowbrow, but they don't have many local shows.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really cool to have an all-premier local show.
That's what they were telling me. This is the first one at that location that's going to be all local.
Well, I love it, and they just opened up. I love Lowbrow. I think they bring some amazing bands here to El Paso that, and honestly, there should be more bands coming and stopping in El Paso because they have to drive through anyways to get to these other cities that they're heading to. But I hope to see more local bands there as well.
Yeah.
So it's exciting that you guys are on the first bill for their first local show.
Yeah, and that was one of the first places that I went to shows here in El Paso. So I really love that place, and I'm super stoked to finally be on the stage there.
Yes.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome. I
Thank you.
saw Bikini Kill there. Did you go to that?
I'm so bummed I was out of town but I was hearing another band. But if I was in town, I totally would have been there.
I didn't really know who they were. My friend came in from Austin, Chris Johnson, and he invited me, took me there, and I'm so glad I did.
Yes.
That was great to see their venue. Wow, it's like you felt like it's
paid homage to
Top
the
notch.
old venue, but it like I said in my post, it gives it the space that was it was needed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You know?
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
gig.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to get some tickets for that for sure.
Going to a show that you don't know who the band is the best.
Yes.
Like,
You know
yeah.
what? His son was like, "Oh, you don't know? I thought you." I'm like, "There's a lot I don't know, man. I'm
Yeah.
not that hip. I'm not that cool." You know, I'm like, he was like wanting to play like. I'm like, no, I want to go fresh. You know, I want to just go there and experience it.
Yeah,
I'm glad I did.
It's the best. Yeah, I've been to so many shows like that where it's just like, you know, I don't know what to do tonight. Let's just go find a place that has music playing, and then you just run into an incredible band.
That's how I found you. I don't ever know where I'm going. I just go. I was like, oh, there's music. I'm there. I was even bummed because Farside came to El Paso and I missed that one.
I was there. I filmed some of them. I got
nerded out.
Oh, get out of here!
Yes, I love them so much.
Right on.
But it's cool that we're getting these quality bands, you know. And I'm excited for Cage because I see you guys going on tour. Like,
That's the goal. You know?
dude, like I was fangirl nerding out the other day when that guy that I told you from Surfboard, I went to go see them recently play in Phoenix or Tucson. I don't even remember anymore. But they're a big band right now. Like all these bands are just bumping and popping up from this past summer, and they're all on tour. And like when he started, he commented and then he liked the post. I was like, oh my god! Like that's how you start getting the word, the buzz. You know what I mean? So
just slowly but surely.
Yes,
it's a steady climb. For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and so like I mentioned, they've been on KLAQ a couple of times. There's a reason for that, y'all. And how do they find you?
You can find us on Instagram or Facebook, Cage and the Rampage. That's pretty much our biggest presence right now. We've got one single out. You can stream that on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get music, you can stream that. It's called Like That. It's a question. It's a short little song, but it kind of tells you what we're all about. It's got a little swing to it.
Nice. I love it. So follow Cage and the Rampage. Go out and support them. Seriously, you will not be disappointed. He's going to take us out with some awesomeness. But first, I do want to mention a couple of things. Thank you guys again for tuning in this week to this week's podcast. I really appreciate it. Yes, you guys follow each other. I want to, this is what I love about the podcast. You never know what connections are going to be made, new friends being made, things happening. So it's always fun for me, for you guys at home, to introduce you guys to some new businesses to check out. But a couple of things. If you're interested in getting your business or band or anything highlighted on Annie's Adventures, reach out to me and we can go on and talk about how to do that. Super easy. I just need about a week's notice to book. Also, I want you guys to go local as much as possible. Please support our local artists, our local venues, our local businesses, our local community. As much as possible. Everything that the big guy has, we have here, but better. And it's probably the same price, if not less, and way better quality. So I'm just tossing that out there. Something for you guys to think about, maybe. Also, if you're interested, we are looking for sponsors for this podcast. I also have a website if you want to advertise on that, anniesadventuresep.com. And if I may inquire and ask, and thank you if you have, could you vote for me at El Paso's Best of the Best, El Paso Inc., for Best Local Social Media Influencer and Best Local Podcast? If you don't mind, I greatly appreciate it. And tell your people too. Thanks. So without further ado, thank you guys again for joining me.
Our pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes. And Cage, take it away. welcome. Thank you so much. I
you.
appreciate you guys. Cage and the Rampage, Power at the Pass, Valentine Sandoval, Don Shapiro. Thank you guys so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Abel. Thank you, Leonard. And as always, I'll see you guys next week. Tune in at 4 p.m. next Wednesday. I'll see you then. Take care. Go local. Bye, y'all.
You can catch all episodes of Annie's Adventures with Annie Perez on most podcast platforms that you subscribe to: Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Ivy.fm, and TuneIn.com. And you can always go to DialogueEP.com to check out all our podcasts. Thank you for listening.